Part-time drivers, of course, are a staple of NASCAR, with many of them running in the Cup Series, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Truck Series every single season. Some of them can be very memorable, like Corey Heim, of course, just won as a part-time driver at San Diego in the Cup Series last week, his first ever Cup Series win. But there's another section of part-time drivers that includes drivers that just made one start in the ride that they were given. Those, of course, are one-off starts in NASCAR, and today we're going to be looking at them and some random examples of NASCAR one-off starts that you may have forgotten or may remember. This will include some pretty high-profile drivers, some starts that went to victory lane, maybe some starts that finished last. Who knows what we could see in this video? And without further ado, let's take a look at some NASCAR one-off starts. Our first example is from the Xfinity Series, now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. It's Martin Truex Jr. when he made a Joe Gibbs Racing start in the Xfinity Series back in 2021 in the Atlanta Spring Race. So, of course, I'm a huge Truex fan. I remember this day really well, and man, he nearly won the race. Was battling just an all-Geier late. Unfortunately for me, he finished second. It was still an incredible effort for Truex and his one and only Xfinity start of the year. It was one of the final races at the old Atlanta Motor Speedway configuration, and Truex is running a bright yellow Stanley car. It was a beautiful-looking paint scheme. Just really wish it could have gone to victory lane, because I don't ever think actually got a diecast from this, because he didn't win the race, of course. To this day, it's the most recent start Truex has the Xfinity Series, and I really do wish he would make another one soon. Hey, he's a two-time Xfinity champion, so you never know, that series does have some meaning to him. Our next example is from just last year, and it's Harrison Burton racing for Rick Ware Racing in the 2025 All-Star race at North Wilkes-Barre Speedway. So there is actually a good valid reason he was in this car. It wasn't just random. Harrison Burton was locked into the All-Star race because he won the 2024 Daytona Summer Race, so that automatically locks you into the race. You don't have to do the Open. At least that was the rules last year. Burton already was driving the Xfinity Series full-time. That season moved down after 2024. He actually never did a points race technically in 2025, just did the All-Star race in the Cup Series while he was driving for AM Racing in the Xfinity Series. Now, the weird thing is, Cody Ware is already full-time in the 51 car that season for Rick Ware Racing, and they moved him to the 15 so he could try to race his way into the All-Star race through the Open. It was pretty odd. I'm not exactly sure if only chartered cars can be locked in, because the 51 was chartered and the 15 was not. Harrison Burton would finish in 20th out of 23 cars in the All-Star race main event, while Cody Ware missed the All-Star race because he didn't finish high enough in the Open. It was definitely weird to see Harrison Burton replace Cody Ware for one race and Ware moving to the 15, but I guess Rick Ware Racing saw the opportunity to have one car in the All-Star race guaranteed, so they took it. For this next one, we got to go back 12 years, and it's one Pablo Montoya driving for Team Penske in 2014 in their 12 car, which, of course, this is the 12 before Ryan Blaney was even in the Cup Series. Montoya had been full-time in NASCAR for a while, up until 2014 when he moved back full-time to IndyCar with Team Penske, so it made sense that Team Penske would offer him a ride in the NASCAR Cup Series, part-time, of course. Montoya was somewhat successful in his NASCAR tenure as he won 2 Cup Series races, an Xfinity Series nationwide race as well, all, of course, being at road courses, which were his specialty. But interestingly enough, the 2 starts he would make for Penske that season in 2014 would both be on ovals. He would run this blue and yellow, very bright colored Penske truck rental machine. He would race at Indianapolis, the Brickyard 400, and he also would race at Michigan, 2 bigger ovals. Technically, it's not a one-off start, it's actually 2, but he would do fairly well in those 2 starts he made. In his first start back, he would finish 18th at Michigan, and then finished it up with a 23rd place finish at Indianapolis. I know he was only 1 year out of the Cup car, but that's still pretty good for a part-time driver, even with Team Penske. After 2014, Montoya would wait another 10 years to make his next start in NASCAR. This would be with 2311 in 2024 at Watkins Glen. He wouldn't do so well. He would finish in 32nd place, but it was good to see Montoya back one final time, and I'm assuming we'll probably never really see him back in NASCAR, but who knows? Anything is possible. This one is pretty random, though. It was Eric Jones racing for Jordan Anderson Racing in the 2021 Xfinity Series race at Watkins Glen. This was Eric's first season full-time for Richard Petty Motorsports in the NASCAR Cup Series. First full season with Chevy as well. But it was really odd to see him go with Jordan Anderson Racing of all teams and do the Xfinity race at a very random track like Watkins Glen. Unfortunately for Eric Jones, his first race in the Xfinity Series since 2019 would not exactly go to plan, as he would wreck out from some sort of mechanical issue and absolutely slam the wall, and his number 31 Bomberito Jordan Anderson Racing machine was completely destroyed, and he was taken out early. Of course, still had the Cup race to do that week, Just very odd that Eric Jones raced for Jordan Anderson Racing of all teams. I mentioned 2019 for Jones in the Xfinity Series. This was another really random one-off start that year. While this looks like a Gibbs car, it was actually for XCI Racing, which has a very strong technical alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing, or at least did for that one year they raced in the Xfinity Series. Very, very random, basically one-season team. And unfortunately, just like 2021, this start for Eric Jones wouldn't go well either, as he would be swept up in a big wreck earlier in the race that absolutely destroyed his number 81 machine and took him out of the event. Now this one, I completely forgot about it, and it's really recent, just last year. It's JJ Yeley driving for Spire Motorsports in the Truck Series race at Talladega. I honestly forgot this happened. I had no idea. I mean, thinking about it now, maybe I kind of remember it's something being announced, but I completely forgot that Yeley was in the 7 truck for Spire last year, which is actually a really good truck, even though it's, of course, a super speedway. Yeley would end up leading a few laps in the best NASCAR ride that he had had in years, and would finish 13th in the Talladega truck race with a clean truck. It was a very nice run for the driver of the 7, and I actually hope JJ Yeley gets some good opportunities like this yet again in the lower series. I think if he gets like a really good race car, like I don't know, like a Gibbs car or something like that in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, then I think he could run pretty decently with it. Speaking of the truck series, how about a truck series regular going up to the Cup Series for one singular race, this being at the Bristol Dirt Race in 2021. Stuart Friesen actually drove for Spire Motorsports in a paint scheme that looked like his truck with the Halmar Friesen logos all over it. Stuart Friesen is a very good dirt racer, but it was very weird that he would make a start in the NASCAR Cup Series for Spire Motorsports of all teams. It was especially strange because Spire Motorsports is a Chevrolet team, and Stuart Friesen's own race team in the Truck Series is a Toyota team. So it is pretty rare to see something like that. I guess the manufacturer Toyota let him drive a Chevy, which seems like something that really wouldn't happen that often. Stuart Friesen did his normal Truck Series race that week as well at Bristol Dirt, finished 12th in that one, and then also finished 23rd in the Cup race a lap down, which definitely isn't bad, especially in that old Spire Motorsports equipment when they weren't good at all. You know what's rare to see in these one-off starts? A victory. Eric Almirola, though, did that. He won Sonoma in 2023 in the Xfinity Series, his only Xfinity start of the year, for Ryan Sieg Racing. Now, granted, it was a Stewart-Haas Racing prepared car, but still seriously random that he would even get this ride at Sonoma of all tracks. He had to hold off AJ Allmendinger, Kyle Larson, and Ty Gibbs at a road course in the Xfinity Series, and he still got the job done and won the first ever race for RSS Racing. Like I said, still a Stewart-Haas Racing prepared car. It was hard for them to even celebrate because of that, but still, it was just an insane victory and just so random. After that win in 2023, he would retire from the Cup Series that season. He would come back in the Xfinity Series in 2024 and 2025 for Joe Gibbs Racing part-time, and would actually win 6 races over those 2 combined seasons. Now, I don't know where he's been in 2026 yet. He hasn't raced whatsoever. I really hope he does, because man, he is good in this Xfinity car still. 7 wins since 2023 for Eric Almirola in the Xfinity Series. Now, the reason I'm not including a lot of road course ringers that made one-off starts recently in the NASCAR Cup Series is because I have a full series for NASCAR next-gen road course ringers that I've got going right now that will be all included there. But we're going to have one in this video. This is Brody Kostecki in the 2023 Indianapolis road course race in the NASCAR Cup Series when he raced for Richard Childress Racing. He comes from the same series as Shane Van Gisbergen, and we all know how good SVG is. Of course, the Supercars Series in Australia. He won the Supercars Championship that season in 2023 and decided that he would make a NASCAR start that year as well for RCR. Kostecki finished 23rd in that race, easily getting beat by SVG, but not bad ultimately for a driver making their first ever start, even though SVG won in his first ever Cup Series start, but that was at a street course. Indianapolis is just a normal road course, so it wasn't bad ultimately for the driver of the 33. Our next one is kind of random. This is Ryan Reed racing in the NASCAR Cup Series in the 2016 Talladega Fall race for Roush. Back then, Ryan Reed was a full-time NASCAR Xfinity Series driver for Roush. He'd raced there for a few seasons, and he ultimately got a Cup ride in the 99 car, which Roush brought that back for the first time since Carl Edwards. Ryan Reed is actually an Xfinity Series winner. He got the job done in Daytona that next season in the season opener in 2017 for Roush. I think this might have been his last or maybe second to last season in the number 16. Going back to the Talladega race in the Cup Series, his only ever Cup start, Ryan Reed would finish on the lead lap in 23rd place, so it definitely could have been worse. Did a nice job ultimately keeping the car clean all day and came home with a solid result in his first ever and only ever Cup Series start. How about for our last one-off start example in this video, we look at the return of a champion to his former team. This is Bobby Labonte racing in the 2016 Xfinity Series race at Daytona. Bobby Labonte, of course, is a NASCAR Cup Series champion in 2000, and completely randomly decided that he would do the 2016 race in Daytona in the Xfinity Series, returning for Joe Gibbs Racing. His race looked pretty promising early, running up front, but unfortunately that would be short-lived as he got turned early in the race, getting not completely taken out, but having pretty significant damage on his number 18 NOS Energy Joe Gibbs Racing machine. That would hinder his performance for the rest of the race and take him out of contention for the race win early on, which was just so painful to see. He would somewhat rebound to actually finish in 23rd place, but it definitely could have been a lot better for the 2000 Cup Series champion. It was very unfortunate to see Bobby Labonte have an issue like that early that killed any chance of him having a win. That wouldn't actually end up even being his final NASCAR start. He was actually racing in the Cup Series that season for Go Fast Racing at some of the super speedways, his final start coming at Talladega in the fall race. He would finish in 31st place, ending his NASCAR career entirely. Well, that'll do it here for NASCAR's random one-off starts. We covered a lot of drivers that are very notable and a lot of driver combinations with the teams that you've probably never even seen before, but I still have so many examples to cover. There's definitely going to be a part 2 to this video, so make sure to stay tuned. I hope you guys all enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys next time.